We're going to share with you some of our experiences applying BioPortal to different art projects and also to individual companies here in the United States, and even some other countries we have applying also some of the elements of BioPortal. So we are going to start with the phylogenetic chart. We are applying this phylogenetic chart as a way to visualize and analyze the genomic heterology between sequences in our databases. So, okay. In some of the several programs that we have been using in the past for managing sequencing information, we have among them Clustal, Clustal X, or Clustal W, Clustal Omega. We have TreeView, or the DNA start elements, Megaline, edit, and some other of the elements of DNA start. However, as we start getting more and more databases and more sequences in our projects, so we are getting from getting just some sequences in those areas to having hundreds and even thousands of sequences in our databases. So we have a huge matrices of homology and heterology, and also huge dendrograms. So it's pretty difficult when we would like to somehow make subgroups from those huge databases and filtering or sorting that information in smaller subsets of information. It becomes very complicated to do all that sorting and getting back to those programs that we used to use. However, applying BioPortal, all that process becomes really easy and way faster than the other previous element that we use for analyzing this type of information. We are going to see a video showing how we are applying BioPortal to manage this type of information. In this case, we are selecting a database and going to one of the tools, the phylogenetic chart, and we will see how we can manage really easily this type of information. The program, by default, will select the latest sequence in our database, in this case from October, from last month, and there is some settings that we can use in order to modify the default information that we have in the program. Now we are setting some cutoff, and we are seeing everything within 2% of our sequence of interest in red, everything between 2 and 5 in yellow, and the rest in green. We can also modify the number of sequences we are visualizing, going from 30 to whichever number we would select. And in this case, all of these sequences are to a given distance from the sequence of interest. Of course, we can select from our database any of the sequences available there from last year or early this year, whatever, and everything will be compared to that specific sequence. We can also do some filtering. So from the huge database that we could get, we can select some specific fields. Perhaps could be we only want to see a specific period of time or a specific type of facilities, only nurseries or so sites, or in this case some type of grouping. We can go to RFLP and select only those RFLPs that we are interested to compare with that sequence that we originally selected. So from the original 60 sequences in the database, we now have 25, and the program recalculates getting the same initial settings to generate the chart. But we can also do some other addings to the chart. Perhaps we want to look how all this information compares to some references, in this case MLB vaccine, so the program will set that sequence here in our chart, and we will see what is the distance between that sequence, that reference sequence, to the rest of the information. Or maybe we can add some other sequences, some other reference sequences, as ATP, Fostera, some other sequences we have available, and all that information will be included in our chart. Now, for this type of information, we can always see how these references are compared to the sequence of interest.